Alright, in this video, we're going to take a look at equivalent fractions. So we kind of talked about it already in the last video, where we saw equivalent fractions on the number line. Make sure you put today's date in the upper right-hand corner. So to think about equivalent fractions, we're going to use pizza. So think about a pizza. I'm going to draw 3 of them. If I wanted half of the pizza, I would cut the pizza in half and take 1/2 of it. So this is 1/2 of the pizza. What if I cut the pizza up into fourths and wanted a half again? So here I would shade in 2 of the slices and have 2/4. I could keep going. What if I wanted 1/8 of the pizza? So cut it up into 8 slices. And I wanted half here again. That'd be 4/8. So notice with each pizza, half is represented. So it's essentially the same portion of the pizza. So here's where we have equivalent fractions. 1/2 is the same thing as 2/4. It's the same thing as 1/2. And it's also the same thing as 4/8. And I could keep going. You could have 8/16, and that would be the same. 5/10 would be the same. So equivalent just means the same. To find equivalent fractions, you generally multiply. So let's take a look at 1/2 and 2/4. Ask yourself, what number do I multiply by 1 to get 2? You would do 1 times 2 to get 2, and then 2 times 2 to get 4. So to make an equivalent fraction, we're just multiplying it by the same number on top and bottom. And again, if I did the same thing, if I multiplied by 2, and multiply this one by 2, that would be equal to 4/8. So you just made an equivalent fraction by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the same value. So if you're asked to find equivalent fractions, let's say you're asked to find the value that makes the fractions equivalent. So here I'll give you 3/6, or actually let's do 3/9 equal to 6 over, and we don't know. So what's the value that would make these two fractions equivalent? What would have to go in the denominator to make this equivalent? So you ask yourself, what do you multiply by 3 to get 6? And whenever we multiply 3 by to get 6, we have to do the same to the bottom. So to get 6, we would have to multiply the top by 3, or by 2, excuse me, because 3 times 2 is 6. You do the same thing on the bottom. So 6/18 and 3/9 are equivalent fractions. Another example we could look at. Let's say I gave you 4/5 and I wanted to know what's the equivalent fraction for a denominator that has 15 on the bottom. So you have to ask yourself, What do you multiply by 5 to get 15? You multiply by 3. So on the top, we would also multiply by 3 and get 12. So again, 4/5 and 12/15 would be equivalent because they're the same. So when you're looking for equivalent fractions, you're looking for values that are the same, and you see if you can multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number to turn it into the other fraction. That's one way of looking at equivalent fractions.